fantastic. This next question doesn't necessarily pertain to business. It can pertain to anything in your life. What are you most proud of?
My surfing. I think what's kind of neat when you look at these things over here, I think it's you get to a certain point in life, and you start looking at what you have, right? And you think people say, "Wow, you've done this and you've done that, and man, it's just amazing," and you can suck all this stuff up. But I think what happens is you begin to understand life, you know, as of lately, especially with this, you know, just even prior before this, if you could say, acknowledgement for this business leadership conference. I remember someone, you know, when we had interviews, he'd say, "Well, what would you do? And what would you leave behind?" I said, I always get this picture of me sometimes seeing an old Hawaiian church. In an old Hawaiian church, I open a door and I walk down a pew, and I see at the end of the front of the congregation, a small old Hawaiian small church, I see two people standing there, and then standing around one casket. So I walk up behind these two people and I look between their shoulders, and I look in that casket and I see me. And you know what? I wake up. And I'm going, who? I hope that when I die, I think to myself, I said, more than two people come to my funeral, and hopefully say something good. Being facetious and animated in that, as far as illustration, it has more of a deeper impact, as it is, you want to know that what you leave behind is not just good memories, but you leave back a legacy. So when you look at the aspects of life phases when you're young, we was young one time, right? We're trying to survive. Where's the next dollar for pay the next bill? And you know, what are we gonna do? And how the kids gonna get education and what, you know? You're just in a survival mode just to find out how it's gonna cut out. Then the next life phase is about accumulation. It's about accumulating all those things in preparation for what? The last life phase, which is preservation. But it's funny, as I've been thinking life over, and you know, as so-called the world calls success, I'm beginning to understand that it's not really about those three life phases. The first phase is absolutely true. You're young, you need to learn, you need to engage, but you know, you make mistakes, and that's why it's survival mode, right? But as you get a little bit more mature, you begin to accumulate. But what happens is that at that point, the preservation, it's all about just preserving, hunkering in, enjoying life, retiring, and you know, just living life. But realistically, that should be the station that we should be at, where it's regeneration. Regeneration for the next generation. Putting that forward. When you do that, it just kind of fires, how would you say, fires up what you have in that last side. But it also plants a seed, not just for something good to be talked about, but you're passing on a legacy. Yeah.
Wow. That's neat. That's awesome. And as long as I've known you, you've always been a funny guy. Tell us something funny about yourself.
Funny? I'm supposed to be smart. My wife tells me I'm dense. And then I sit there and I'm going, jeez. So for the life of me, we're supposed to be guys and we're supposed to listen. And I guess I pride myself on listening, but Lynette always tells me, he says, you never listen. All you do is fix it. And I don't want you to fix it. But the funny part is that when you look at life, this relationship is about long-term commitment. And every time we get into an argument, and we can laugh because life is like that, right? But she'd get upset, and I just shut up and listen. It's going great until she goes, so what do you say? And this fear comes over me. Do I dare answer? Well, what you hear is you begin to find out. He says, do you really want me to answer? Do you want me to listen? Something happens to the dynamic, and it brings back common sense to the thing. But what it is, it brings a relationship in. But I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that life cannot be about just being serious. Life cannot be about just turnkeying answers. Life cannot be about 1 + 1 = 2. There's a human element that moves beyond the threshold of structure. And that really is the heart, right? So humor is an incredibly important part of that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing that with us. Is there anything you would like to say in closing to the viewers out there who are looking at this interview and thinking, wow, you know, that's great, I want to be like Guy. What one suggestion would you have for them to leave with them for a thought, a question that would trigger insight into their own personalities in business?
You know what? Tell Jeff give you $22.50. He's paying me that to talk to you.
Yeah.
I think when you look at something like this, I would have to say, you know what? Sometimes we think whether you just started, whether you're in the midst of all this adversity, or even considering the possibility of, it says that, you know what? All things are possible. Sometimes you sit there and you think, nah, it cannot be me. Nah, I'm not good enough. You know, I don't have enough connections. I never did this before. This happened because, you know, I lack this. You know what, it's really neat. I said high school time, I was probably voted most likely to fail. You know, I went to one class reunion, and I have to say, everybody sitting down, they're all drinking, they're kind of like in retirement. When they start asking me questions, and they're going, good night. And everybody was of the same mindset. And he said, what happened to you? And I went, what? We really thought you were the most likely to fail. You couldn't even talk in front, you couldn't even talk to girls. I said, there was a dynamic, and you know, there's something that happens when some incredible point, a defining moment, and for me it was really kind of a connection with the man upstairs. People say it's religious, people say it's a fluke. It's not a crutch. Actually, to me, it's very important. But that is a very strong basis for everything that has been done. It's the seed that gave you the confidence. Because the confidence, the strength, the insight, the empowering, that it just moves beyond you. But that wraps the entire tapestry of who we are into what we are today for such a time as this. So if you look at business, you look at all these different things, look to what you can do that is almost impossible. And then you look at the possibilities of impossible. And you know what? The sky really is the limit. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing these great insights and wisdom with us. And I know you're busy, and I appreciate you taking the time. And thank you again.
All right. Sound good.